Alrighty, guys, we're back for Naya tokens, and this is an Outlaws with under Junction Standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. You got 3 Jinnie Fay, Jetmir second in here. This is a 3-mana 3/3 legendary creature. If you would create one or more tokens, you may instead create that many 2/2 green cat creature tokens with haste, or that many 3/1 green dog creature tokens with vigilance. Beautiful card, man. I'm really going to miss this once it rotates, and rotation is right around the corner. We do have other cards packed in that are actually going to be rotating out that I'm going to miss, like Jetmir, Nexus of Revels, 4 mana, 5/4, legendary creature. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and have vigilance as long as you control 3 or more creatures. But if it's 6 or more creatures, they get another +1/+0 and also trample. But if it's 9 or more creatures, they get another +1/+0 and also double strike too. And I don't think that's going to be unheard of in a build like this, which should just be a pooping tokens onto the board quite effectively. We do have some new cards in here that aren't rotating, though. We do have Ghired, Mirror of the Wilds. 3 mana, 3/3, rock and haste. It is a legendary creature. Non-token creatures you control have tap, create a token. That's a copy of target token you control that entered the battlefield this turn. It's a really interesting ability, and I am super interested to see how much it's actually going to do today. Might as well finish going over our 3 drops. We have a 1 of Anim Pakal in here, and then also a 1 of Samut Vizier of Naktumen. Very cool name. I don't know if I pronounced any of that right. So some of our awesome token generators. We do have 3 Gala Greeters. Here's another one I'm going to miss, huh? 2 mana 1/1 rocking that alliance. And whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, choose one that hasn't been chosen yet. In this deck in particular, I think it's going to be super easy to actually just choose all 3 of these on the same turn. So you could put a +1/+1 counter on Gala Greeters, create a tap treasure token, or gain 2 life. Pretty powerful card that we actually just don't get to see too often, huh? So some other token generators, we do have all 3 Charming Scoundrel, beautiful. We have 3 Welcome to Sweettooth, a saga that we don't get to see too often. Chapter 1 of this saga, you get to create a 1/1 white human creature token. Chapter 2, get a food token. Chapter 3, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control, where X is 1 plus the number of foods you control. Not too many other ways in here to actually generate food, but we do have 1 here. On the top end, we have 2 Bristlebud Farmers. 4 mana 5/5 with trample. Those are good stats, man, but also when it ETBs, you get to create 2 food tokens. So a really cool curve, of course, is turn 3 Jinnie Fay, turn 4 Bristlebud Farmer. Instead of foods, make those 2/2 hasty cats. That seems pretty powerful. Also, when Farmer attacks, you may sacrifice a food. If you do, mill 3 cards. You may put a permanent card from among them into your hand. Nice. So we do have some removal packed in with a couple Get Lost. Every now and then, you may target one of your own things. Maybe, like, it's going to be rare, but you never know, because its controller creates those 2 map tokens. So if you do have like the Jinnie Fay on the board, instead of map tokens, 2/2 hasty cats, right? And I keep bringing up the cats, but you are going to generate those 3/1 dogs every now and then, especially if the token's coming in tapped already, like the Gala Greeters treasure, for example. Okay, more token generation. We have all 4 Novice Inspector, which of course is going to pair nicely with the 4 Gleeful Demolitions packed in. So since we're already getting artifacts from like Inspector, potentially map tokens on the Get Lost, we have treasures on the Scoundrel, treasures on the Greeters, we have the food tokens on the Welcome to Sweettooth. I don't think we're going to have any issues having artifacts on the board that we don't mind popping with this. But then don't forget, like, you could totally target your opponent's artifacts too, and there's a whole lot that we would not mind hitting with a Gleeful Demolition. Other artifacts that we have packed in, though, we do have a Skrelv as a 1 of. We also have this Collector's Cage, too. This is a 2 mana artifact with Hideaway 5. And then for 1 mana, you can tap this. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, which I don't think it's going to be too difficult to do in this build, you may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost. Cool. There's not too much on the top end that we want to play out for free, but I just think that's a really cool ability. Interested to see how much this is going to do today. Also on the top end, we have Rabble Rousing, also with that Hideaway 5, generating a whole bunch of tokens that way, and a Burn Down the House too, because those devils will go a long way. But then also every now and then, we do need a nice clean board wipe. A little bit of protection with the Royal Treatment. Don't forget that Royal Roll token is a token. So instead of the Royal Roll, if you have that Jinnie Fay on the board, you might be able to turn that into a doggy or something. The mana base, guys, check this out. Look at this. Look at this even split between these three colors. 50% white, 50% red, 50% green, because math. And then over in the mana base, we are opting for the fast land. We got all 4 Copperline Gorge, Inspiring Vantage, and all 4 Thickets as well. We got the Restless Ridgeline, the Bivouac, and the Prairie, and also a Jetmir's Garden as a one-of. Plaza of Heroes made the cut too because we have so many important legends. Then we also have a Mirrex for more token generation. That token happens to be an artifact too. Even split between the Forest, Mountains, Plains, Seat of the Empire, Crucible of Defiance. Who endures? Oh, buddy, my definition of briefly is different than everybody else's definition of briefly, huh? we do have some honorable mentions today as well. So Lunarch Veteran almost made the cut, definitely noteworthy here. Baldaran Epicure almost made the cut, and then I thought about more top end too, but then I thought that would just lean the deck even heavier into the mid range. So Moonshaker Cavalry, when we're rocking cards with Hideaway, could be pretty neat in a build like this. Okay, guys, enough rambling, huh? Let's go ahead, take this into some ranked and see how we do. All right, we'll see if we can get right into that first game. In the meantime, what am I expecting from the build? I don't know, man. We got some key pieces that make like the Boros cuts, and Boros is obviously really powerful. Other than that, I mean, we have to anticipate jank, I suppose. Ooh, this is actually a pretty bad first hand, especially for going first. Nothing to do with that Gleeful Demolition. Although we have all the mana we need. Emergency board wipe when it comes time to. Okay, we're going to give this a shot. And there's a lot that we can draw into as well. But I'm not really liking the hand, but still, I don't know if this is a mulligan. Look at our fast lands ready to play. Yeah, dude, this deck was really hard for me to just briefly go over for some reason. I mean, there's so much packed in. And a bunch of like one-ofs too and stuff. All right, let's start with the Gorge. Makes sense to me. We're curving out really nicely over the 2-drop, so we have a good chance of seeing something. It was a land, but that's fine too, because that land works for the Ghired, Mirror of the Wilds, but so does our Plaza. Okay, Selesnya Enchantments means burn down the house. If burn down the house comes down right on time, then it's going to be really good. We're probably going to have to bring it down right on time. Selesnya Enchantments can get above the 5 damage pretty effectively. We'll get this down just as like a chump blocker. Oh, I guess we could swing too. Sure, why not? Unfortunately, there's like no way that this is going to survive. Either Selesnya Enchantments picks it up, buffs all their creatures anyways, or we're going to have to drop the burn down the house and pick up our own creatures regardless. Okay, Calyx will definitely help them get above the burn down the house, guys. That's not good news. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Going all in on the Naturalist too. They really are going to go all in on that Naturalist. Selesnya Enchantments, why? Why Selesnya Enchantments? That's their turn 3, guys. I bring this up every now and then, but Selesnya Enchantments is equally as aggressive as Mono Red when it wants to be. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. Go ahead, put the Audacity onto the Calyx, and Jinnie Fay. Hi. Yeah, we probably should have mulliganed, huh? Let's... Don't have a lot here. We might be able to survive next turn. Save the Crucible. We'll play the Plaza. Plaza can't... Ooh! Wait, what are you doing? What do I want to do? I want to keep a green source open. I guess Plaza... If we somehow lose one our creatures before we can activate, I'd rather use the Plaza first. Add a green source this way. Yeah, and then keep the green source on the Copperline Gorge. That makes much more sense to me. Okay, Jinnie Fay's on the board, and Royal Treatment is available. We can generate another blocker there. Unfortunately, the Trample on the Calyx and the Naturalist is really, really bad. But I don't think we survive the turn. And burn down the house could have been really good, but not in this case. Audacity number 2. They buff the Calyx here. So all of their creatures now have trample. Michiko's Reign of Truth. Oh my goodness. We're still going to play this out till the very end. What's interesting here. Yeah, the Ghired ability doesn't say anything about sorcery for those creatures. And it does count himself too, which is actually just super interesting, man. So if we go like Royal Treatment onto, let's go Jinnie Fay. And then we grab a, I guess since all of them have trample, I guess the cat would actually be better here, right? Then we could totally like copy the cat with this too, which is actually pretty neat. And then since it's another token entering as well, but anyways, that's kind of cool. I wanted to play that out completely. Drop them the GG. So I guess technically we would have had the chump blockers available while keeping our Mirror of the Wilds alive. But, you know, obviously the trample got us anyways. Yeah, GG opponent. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Could that have gone differently if I mulliganed and saw a bit of a faster hand? I don't know, dude. That was a pretty wild lineup from the opponent. I think, number one, we would have wanted to see one of our Get Lost or something too. So, maybe. Maybe, probably not. I think that would have been heavily leaning towards Selesnya Enchantments that game for sure. Selesnya Enchantments, that's a big deck that's just like losing a lot of its key pieces after rotation. So let me know in the comments, are you guys going to miss Selesnya Enchantments, or are you going to be very happy once it's gone? I'm kind of in the middle about it, because I think it's actually a really cool deck that gets a lot more hate than it deserves. Okay, get that Skrelv down. Yeah, here's a lot of our early stuff, a lot of the artifacts. Actually being able to use that Gleeful Demolition in the last game could have been pretty good. Let's just go with Welcome to Sweettooth for the turn. I don't think I'm going to save like the Skrelv for I think I'm just going to swing with this Skrelv. With mono red, like, they have so much burn packed in anyways. I'm not sure saving that for protection would be worthwhile. Also, they'll probably tap out for their turn 2 anyways, so. With Menace and Trample and Ancestral Anger, okay. So they're getting 5 through for the turn, which is an alright turn 2 for mono red. Ooh, token. Let's get that Samut down. And I guess full swing, because, I mean, even if we don't, so we'll full swing even with the Skrelv. Alright, Plaza of Heroes off the top. Any draw off the top is fine and dandy, because now we get like Crucible, for example, as utility. So that's a Lightning Strike that's not hitting our face. But if we would have kept the Skrelv available, then we could have potentially protected the Samuts. Definitely something to consider. That's now a 3-3. Plaza of Heroes, Jinnie Fay. And this time I will keep the Skrelv, because protecting Jinnie Fay is essential. Hasty Dog. Swing for 5. Not bad, guys. Not bad at all. Might be able to get there against mono red. Of course, we still don't have great blocks against that Swift Spear, though, because I don't want to lose the Jinnie Fay and the Menace and Trample, so we can't necessarily like block with the Inspector. Oh, they go for the 3-mana Ward 2/2. Ward 2/2, actually. I wonder how much that keeping that Skrelv available helped us there. So Crucible. Crucible also reads, they gain haste until end of turn. So if we bring the dogs, I believe they also gain haste. And I think that would be worthwhile on a nice full swing here. Forcing some blocks. It's 2 mana. Let's do this. 2 mana because we have the Skrelv and the Jinnie Fay. So Vigilance Dogs. Yep, they gain haste. And then we'll go Novice Inspector. And Kitty Cat. This is pretty cool, man. I'm going for that full swing. Because we are forcing blocks. If they double block the Jinnie Fay, they're just dead here. The Jinnie Fay's okay. If they block the weak things like Skrelv and stuff, yeah, they got to block the big things. So that would be the dogs. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 11, 12 actually still on the board. So they're looking for some spot removal in hand then for one of the cats, and then that's still 10 getting through. Dude. Nice. Yeah, I don't know what the opponent could possibly do here to actually survive. Let's just pretend this was the first game, right, guys? Wow, what a great first game. Just completely forget that we went up against Selesnya enchantments. I don't know if the opponent left the building or if they're just thinking if there's a possible block here. Because I might have missed something, right? I might have missed... Let's see. If they block Jinnie Fay and the human as chump blocks, right? And that's still 12 going through. So their mountain would need to somehow take out, like, 2 things somewhere. Is there a card that could do that at instant speed? Right, like an End the Festivity style card. GG, opponent. GG, buddy. So an End the Festivity style card, but at instant speed, I don't think that exists, right? I don't think so. Heck yeah, I had fun. They had to ask us on the victory, right? It's like, no, that was terrible. All right. That was a really good match. That was awesome. Yeah, taking down mono red like that. That was pretty early too, right? What turn was that? Was that our turn 4 or 5? Jinnie Fay, Gleeful Demolition. Yikes. This is a bad hand. We should mulligan. The opponent goes first here. Oh, there we go. Probably send the Collector's Cage, unfortunately. I'd love to see that do a thing today, but... let's keep this. And we want to keep the mana. I'm probably going to pop the Skrelv for the Gleeful Demolition, honestly. That's very tempting. If Skrelv even survives. And it might not even be a turn 1. We might actually just go Jetmir's Guard in turn 1 too, depending on what they play here. Kamano faces Sokenzan. Oh, buddy. Oh, welcome to Sweettooth. Okay. I'd rather have my green source available for turn 2 after that draw. That's a pretty good draw. I like that. Yeah, right up against brutal metal. Metal? Same thing. Brutal meta builds. For the first 3 games here, right? Selesnya enchantments, then 2 mono red lists. That's scary business. And this could easily be mono red's revenge. They went first here. Our hand is a little bit slower, but it's not a bad hand at all. Hopefully our 1/1 is a successful chump blocker. It usually isn't in mono red nowadays. It's really hard to chump things because of how much actually gives trample. But with the food token generating next turn, we'll have the Gleeful Demolition, and we'll be able to play our Mirror of the Wilds next turn too. I'm just not sure how many turns after this we're actually going to get. So it's not a successful chump block, but that's not a shock that's hitting our face. Down to 9, we're probably going to die. Get Lost. It was a good draw. We have Seat of the Empire in hand. Seat is 3. Get Lost is the 2. The 2 that we have now. So we could play the Mountain. And we can play the Gleeful Demolition. Why did I think we could do both of those this turn for some reason? I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, oh yeah, we'll get the Mirror the Wilds down with all of our extra tokens too. No, I don't know. I don't know why I thought that. So we could have played Seat for the Skrelv instead, but the Gleeful Demolition is much better here. Although gaining life off the food wouldn't be bad too. But getting some chump blockers on the ground, keeping the Get Lost open for the Slick Shot show off is probably best case scenario for us. It's not half bad. If we get to keep one of the chump blockers alive, then we'll be able to buff it by a couple. No, we won't actually. 1 plus that, so we'll be able to buff it by 1 counter. They go Play with Fire to our face. We still got 2 mountains open. We're hoping that they just plug things onto the show off rather than trample on the Swift Spirit. Wow, it's a problem is what it is. It's a lightning strike to our face, putting us down to 4. They got that swing. We chump on the ground. And then we pop the show off. And we're alive. Let's go. But we're probably not alive. But still, we'll do our dandiest. So we could keep Seat, or we could play everything out. That's probably pretty good. I like that this has haste. It's actually guys, I don't have another white source. I wasn't paying attention to my mana base. Well, Skrelv can't block anyways, so... But still, that's pretty bad, dude. So I should have played Seat of the Empire as the land. Yeah, I wanted to keep this as utility, but it would have been better to get the Skrelv down. Luckily, we're not going to be, like, punished here because we're probably dead anyways. So we could take the 2 here from the trample, and then there's even more stuff that can kill us. Or we could take the 1 here and trade here, and then we have no creatures on the board for next turn. So it's actually just better to risk it like this. That way we actually have a chance of survival. But going down to 2 means there's even more stuff that kill us, so see what ends up happening. It is in fact a lightning strike, so it didn't even matter then. It did not matter where we blocked. GG opponent. All right. I mean, that's going to happen, but I'm really hoping for game 4 that we are not up against mono red, huh? I'm scared, dude. I'm scared. Something I really want to test this deck against is actually some like control lists. I feel like we'd do pretty good. But I can't be 100% certain without actually like playing against them. Like the Azorius control that we've been seeing a lot of in the last couple months, right? Azorius control always pops up every now and then, but like recently, it's been super brutal. And my builds have had a really rough time against the Azorius control list, so that's one that I actually wouldn't mind going up against today. Heck yeah, dude. We keep this. Start with the Prairie, go into the Vantage. Scoundrel probably gives us a treasure. Just because there's so many 3-drops in hand. Drawing into any of our 1s or 2s, the treasure just means we'll have a better chance of playing more than one thing on the same turn. Cabaret Courtyard. All right. It's a good thing we went first here, I'd say. Oh, welcome to Sweettooth. I'm going to wait on the welcome for turn 3 Jinnie Fay. And for now, I'm going to stick to the plan. We're going to go treasure just for the sake of being able to do multiple things on the same turn when it comes time. Even though we have the mana we need now, the treasure's just like for later. All right. It is a Shigeki. Nice. That blocks our 1/1 well. Just going to get that Jinnie Fay down and established. Another welcome to Sweettooth is actually really good, man. We could also get the Mirror of the Wilds down and establish 2, I guess. But no, I'm just going to go for the Jinnie Fay and hope that Jinnie Fay survives the turn. And land off the top would be pretty darn good, man. Jinnie Fay, no, get down. Jinnie Fay, why? This is also a good example too, where we grabbed the treasure early on for multiple things. So our 1 of protection would have been pretty good, and or the Skrelv too, right? So, well, let's see. No great swings, except from the Ghired. So it's probably now's the turn to do multiple things. We'll get this down and start with the swing. Nice. And then we should do this. We should. Wait, what's the odds of a board wipe? I guess pretty good, right? Ah, geez. But if we don't... Okay, well, I'm going to get it down. I'm going to do this. Everything's fine, guys. Everything's fine. So all of our creatures have this ability where we can tap to create a copy of target token that we control that entered the battlefield this turn. So if we do something like next turn where we go Welcome to Sweettooth for the 1/1 human, we can tap all 3 of our creatures and generate more 1/1 humans. That's kind of insane. And this is actually a match where that might matter. Ooh, Charming Scoundrel. And that Jinnie Fay on this board would be crazy, dude. Oh, man. So Charming Scoundrel could come down. We could grab a... It has haste too. We could go treasure token. Welcome to Sweettooth. Am I doing this okay? I guess we're fine. I guess. And then we tap everything just to copy these 1/1s. It's actually pretty cool. We could keep the Skrelv though for protection. Man, we are gonna run right into a board wipe. We could swing with this, get 3 through. I'm just gonna go for it. Let's do it. Oh crap, dude, we can do this at instant speed. Okay, so I'll wait for the Skrelv then. So we could protect the Ghired with the Skrelv until the very last moment. But we should have done that with anything that we could have potentially blocked with as well, so. But now we have a bunch of 1/1s too, I suppose. Geki activating that ability. Great Deluge, yeah, so this is, they run Ill-Timed Explosion in these lists. Yeah, I was completely getting ahead of myself here, like look at all of our fun little tokens. But no, we could have done all of that on the opponent's turn. Or at the end of their turn would have been much better too, to maybe tempt them to not wipe the board while they had creatures. We might get lucky though. They might not have a board wipe, and then like, unfortunately, Jetmir off the top doesn't mean much because it is a 4-drop. Ill-timed explosion, no. Well, we knew we were running into it, unfortunately. We do have a draw on the Samut here. Or Samut. Or however we want to pronounce that. Well, for funsies, huh? Let's, Oh, no, we can't do that at instant speed. That's why we did it. Guys, I'm all over the place. I apologize. Anyways, it has to be a token that entered that turn. It was still okay to keep the Skrelv open for protection, though, so we didn't really end up getting punished outside of an incredible board wipe from the opponent. But yeah, no, it has to be a token that entered the battlefield this turn. So if we had something enter on the opponent's turn, then that's totally fine. Get lost. Okay. Well, we're just going to go for the draw, because that's pretty good. And then also Welcome to Sweettooth buffs that pretty well. There's our 4th. We'll get the Jetmir's Garden down. Now if we see Jetmir, it's not bad, but we just don't have as many creatures on the board now. Okay, Aftermath Analyst, and they still have 4 available here. Hey, that's what we like to see. Get those ill-timed explosions out of here, huh? They have 3 ill-timed explosions in the grave now. That's good, that's good. I'm happy to see it. So they have 2 in hand. They have a couple Virtue Strengths over here, and I think what's sticking is going to be the Analyst's ability. Before combat, no. I suppose we swing first. They block, then they activate the ability, then we drop everything else and hope that they don't have the 4th ill-timed explosion in hand already. Of course, they could try to find it off the Memory Deluge, too. Okay, it does look like they're going to activate that. So they are tapped out. Luckily, they don't have the card Splunking that lets the things come out untapped. Because then they could still play something from hand, which would be really bad, especially if it was like another Memory Deluge to help them find whatever they need. At this point, though, with all this mana, they can easily spend the 7 for the Virtue of Strength and then just have a ridiculous amount of mana left over. This is also a ton of life gain, too, so we're going to have a really hard time through here. So if the opponent doesn't find a way through, we'll have to decide whether or not we want to concede when it comes time. But I'm pretty sure they usually find a way through. Alright, we're going for everything. And we are going to go for counter, because the extra damage is going to matter. Yeah, Get Lost, not doing too much against this particular list that we're up against. Yeah, so it's very likely Virtue of Strength because they do have a ton of mana. And now each of their basics tap for 3. And then we could die this turn. Easily. Right? Because we're only at 20. How many untapped do they have here? It's like they have 9 untapped. So 27 potential mana. They could go World Soul's Rage for X's 25. It is. It's going to be World Soul's Rage for 20. Good game opponent. Unfortunately, we struggled to find a way through after that board wipe, of course. And was there a way to actually play around that board wipe? Maybe. Maybe if I could have played it out in a little bit of a different order. Hey, saddle up, equip. Whenever I click those for the equip now, I never know what it ends up replacing. Or maybe it doesn't replace anything. Maybe it's just there now. Maybe it's just extra. All right, guys, one more game. Let's do this. I do kind of, sort of believe in the deck list enough to say that I think we can pop off here in the last game. There's a lot of neat little synergies packed in that we're just not really getting a chance to see right now. Opponent goes first, unfortunately. This isn't a bad hand. We're going to keep this. Jetmir, Nexus of Revels is in hand. Yep, I don't mind this. With the opponent going first, hopefully it's not like another mono red list or something, because that would just be terrifying, and then likely a GG as well. But you never know. I think a lot of the reasons, or a lot of the things that would actually pull us back from mono red would be the life gain on Gala Greeters, but then also we'd really want to see the Jinnie Fay too, because I think having explosive haste would really matter. Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and pause until the opponent shows up. Okay, the timer went all the way down. I'm going to keep this. I'm not 100% sure if the opponent is actually going to show up though, so I'm going to continuously pause. See what happens. Alright, the opponent has arrived. Let's go. We're going to start with that Jetmir's Garden. Also, our draw was a Charming Scoundrel. Yeah, that's good news that the opponent's actually here, because this is a pretty good hand, especially now that Charming Scoundrel's here too. Like, I don't mind this at all. It'd be nice if Gala Greeters was able to survive like a turn 3 Brutal Cathar or something, but It might not. We're up against humans, for example. Be Warden of the Inner Sky. Yeah, turn 3, if we play a creature. If we play Gala Greeters to set up, that's much better, but only if the Gala Greeters survives. Outside of that, going for like... Well, what are the odds that it's just Brutal Cathar on turn 3? I'm going to pretend that the odds are low and we're going to play the Gala Greeters because I think we're going to need some good setup against humans. Humans can really just be disgusting on so many different levels. So, yeah, no, humans is really good. Mono white humans especially. Come on, Gala Greeters, stick around. No, ossification. Hey, it wasn't a Brutal Cathar. That's good news. That is good news, actually. All right, more mana off the top is not bad, but we really got to start doing something here. I suppose Charming Scoundrel Treasure, go for the Gleeful Demolition, play Jetmir next turn. Is pretty good. Let's do it. There's like a 2 mana Gleeful Demolition when you're doing something like a treasure token with it. Because we could also play like Welcome to Sweettooth, get the food token next turn, but setting up more creatures now that all get buffed from the Jetmir next turn is pretty darn good, man. Whereas if we went for the food side of things, like I guess we'd get the 1/1 down now, food next turn, pop the food with the Gleeful Demolition, but then we're not getting Jetmir down on 4 anyways, and the goblins don't have haste or anything, so... Yeah, no, I think I like that line of play much better. Guys, I'm feeling pretty good right now. There's the human on the Cavern of Souls. Sanguine Evangelist. No, they're going wide too. Get out of here, opponent. Luckily, our going wide is going to be a little bit stronger. Oh, and they're tapping too. Well, they might swing. If they swing, a triple block's possible, but that's not worth it when we have Jetmir chilling. Come on, Jetmir, buddy. One last time, let's do this. Let's do it for old time's sakes, Jetmir. Not bad, not bad. We definitely need to get more creatures. Thicket comes out tapped, so the top end of Rabble Rousing not going to do too much next turn. If we lose one creature now, then we're going to be 1 away from the trample and the extra +1/+1. Unfortunately, it's such an easy block for the opponent, and we'd only get 6 through and no ways of actually getting multiple creatures down next turn. I think Jetmir gets picked up by like everything though in humans. Ossification to Brutal Cathar to all of them. So we still swing then, right? I think so. We go for the swing. We still have blockers. We lose one no matter what. So we're looking at the fact that Jetmir probably won't survive. And it's better just to get the 6 through right now anyways. But if he does survive, and... Oh! They took all 8. They didn't want to risk the Warden by any means. I guess, like, maybe a Convoke card? I don't know. We got an extra 2 through, though. There's the Cathar. It's a good thing we swung, man. It's a really good thing we swung. If we see an untapped source, then the Rabble Rousing is pretty good. But without Jetmir on the board right now, we're still in big danger. Battlecry on the Evangelist. Oh, man. They're going for the tapping for the Warden. Wow, they're really going for it. They're not even afraid of a second Jetmir. I mean, at that point, I guess I understand. But, hey, untapped source, guys. Rabble Rousing. Cool. We're probably dead next turn, though. But still, really cool. The best one here... Get Lost would have been good for this game. But let's go for Bristlebud Farmer. Yeah, what the heck, man. Let's full swing. So whenever you attack with 1 or more creatures, you create that many 1/1s. than if you have 10 or more. So only if we were able to keep the Jetmir around would we actually have been able to get the Hideaway 5 ability for the turn 2. Yeah, the Get Lost for either the Warden or the Brutal Cathar would have been really good. Actually, instead of the Bristlebud Farmer, we should have grabbed that Get Lost. Because if for some reason we survive this turn, then dropping the Get Lost on the Hideaway to pop the Cathar would have just been like a free Jetmir at that point. So honestly, dude, that would have been so much better. Actually, we might... Okay. This might be my fault, guys. The more I think about just grabbing that Get Lost on the Rabble Rousing, but first we have to survive the turn, so I kind of figure like, well, we're gonna have to chump or something. They're just swinging in the air. Dude, crap. We could have grabbed that Jetmir on this Hideaway. Crap. Oh, crap. Okay, hopefully we don't get punished. So a really good top deck would be awesome. They're definitely concerned about this Rabble Rousing. Unfortunately, we know it's just a Bristlebud Farmer. Oh, buddy, should I have ever grabbed that Get Lost? Yeah, welcome to Sweettooth not doing too much. Not a whole lot of other great ways to actually buff this wide board state. The opponent has left the building. They're here. They arrived. Novice Inspector can help us draw, and I'm going to do that immediately. Because we could draw that Get Lost that we sent back off of the Hideaway. Come on. Plaza. No. We still full swing, though. Like, we still go for it. At that point, I'll keep Plaza in hand. We'll just play our tapped land. Welcome to Sweettooth. We'll still come down for the turn, too. Full swing. Bristlebud. Actually, maybe we just go for the food. Go back up to 15. Because they don't have a terrific swing outside of... Oh, GG opponent, let's go! We didn't get punished. So, had I played it out better, we were probably going to win that turn anyways. So we got the deck win rate back up to 40%, and not bad, guys, not bad. So we could have grabbed the Get Lost on the Rabble Rousing, on the swing, played the Get Lost on the Brutal Cathar. Jetmir comes back. We have a whole bunch of creatures on the board that'll all get +3/+0, Vigilance, Trample, and Double Strike. The Vigilance doesn't matter, though, because they were already tapped, but still, the Trample Double Strike definitely does matter. All right, that's what the deck's trying to do, and taking out mono-white humans is pretty good, and an interesting addition to these mono-white human lists is actually the Sanguine Evangelist. I think they often run 2 of these, but it's definitely a human list. Like, they called human both Cavern of Souls, so... Woo! All right, so... For their Warden, there were some turns there where I was really surprised that they were tapping everything down for their Warden. You know what I mean? So let's go over this deck list one more time, guys. Lots of cards that I'm going to miss, truly. Jetmir, Jinnie Fay, Gala Greeters. You will all be missed. Very, very cool cards, all rotating out, guys. Which, speaking of which, put this on the do not craft list, period. Pretty janky. A lot of really neat synergies, a lot of ways to pop off, but like you're still going to need some setup, and against the current meta, it is just so brutal, dude. Like you saw that first game against Selesnya Enchantments, literally like almost no chance there, no matter what order we saw things. So that's good proof. Like that's one of those things where you need, if you're building a deck like this and you just need even more spot removal and stuff, then you're going to run into the issue where you're trying your dandiest to pop off with all your like little synergies and combos, but now you're just seeing your spot removal and you just so happen to be up against control now and your spot removal is like not hitting anything. So it's like a really hard balance to find for these style of deck lists. So that being said, there were a lot of moments today where we were just like, you know what, Get Lost would have been really good here. So do we want to find a way to squeeze more Get Lost in? Maybe. If I do any changes, though, I'm going to be pretty sad about this complete even split between all 3 Naya colors here. So if we make any changes, maybe I would try to keep that even split between everything. Another card I'm going to miss, guys, Burn Down the House. That's rotating out. Such a good board wipe that when you're not wiping the board, those devils, and especially in a deck like this, are going to be insane. Where does this belong? Ghired, Mirror of the Wilds. I felt like it was in a really awkward position today in a lot of those games where we actually got to see it. I have no clue. But I also think that there's going to be a lot of moments where you are able to generate a lot of extra tokens. And if you ever get both Ghired and Jinnie Fay onto the board, then that could be pretty insane, dude. Because, yeah, you could just start tapping all these down. And we have so many other hasty creatures too, like Scoundrel and stuff, so they can come down on the same turn, generate a treasure token that happens to be a 2/2 cat, and then you can tap the Scoundrel for the Ghired ability and make another 2/2 cat, and then tap the Ghired to make another 2/2 cat. At that point, though, too, like that's one of the awkward things where it's a 3/3, and the cats are 2/2s, and I keep bringing up the cats, and that's because haste is so dang important. But I suppose they could be dogs too, which we got to see a really neat interaction today with Crucible, where specifically reads they gain haste until end of turn, and I believe Burn Down the House reads the exact same thing. At the bottom there it says they gain haste until end of turn, so you can generate doggies with the Jinnie Fay. They're 3/1 with Vigilance, but then they gain haste until end of turn, which happens to be really, really good. Royal Treatment, do we actually want more of these too? I don't know. It's a really tough balance of everything, man. It really, really is. I could see this is tough. This is tough because I want to go up a Get Lost. So I'm going to do that. And I'm sorry, Collector's Cage, but I'm not sure how much you're actually going to do. And you require a little bit of setup, and the meta's so incredibly brutal. We're going to drop that Collector's Cage, unfortunately, guys. That keeps our balance. That gives us another Get Lost, which, of course, we desperately, desperately needed in all those games. Next on the list, another Royal Treatment feels like it would be good, but then how often on turn 3 we're playing a 3-drop? We're not going to have the one open anyways. On turn 4, if we're playing a 3-drop, we're feeling pretty bad because we probably held it last turn. So, like the extra ramp on the Charming Scoundrel and everything. Oh, Rabble Rousing is also rotating out, guys. Don't forget that one. Rabble Rousing is a really cool card, but honestly, I'm not going to miss it as much as these other cards. Like, it's really, really neat. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes when we build these token lists, sometimes it feels forced, but I'll tell you what, Rabble Rousing, very, very excellent on the top end for that last game. Yeah, really neat one. A lot of neat cards rotating, unfortunately. Did I miss anything now? I wonder. Of course, a lot of the mana base, too. Let's do this. Go to Alchemy and see what we're missing. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. There they go. Gala Greeters, Jinnie Fay, of course, Jetmir, Burn Down the House, Rabble Rousing. All of the utility land is gone. I'm really going to miss Crucible of Defiance, man. Really going to miss it. And then Jetmir's Garden. Actually, a lot of the mana base is sticking around too, but we're getting rid of like the bulk of the deck. That's one of the main reasons. Put it on the do not craft list for sure. Rotation is like right around the corner. So only play it if you already have all of the cards, or if you're going to make some substitutions for cards that you already have too. All right, what else, guys? So I do like that. I do like dropping that, and actually the curve looks pretty good with all these 3 ofs for the 2 drops, right? I mean, the curve didn't change. I'm just saying it looks a little prettier now with having all those be 3 ofs instead. Yeah, I don't mind that. I could see dropping a Ghired, going up something else that you really like. And if we do end up messing with this whole 50%, 50%, 50% nonsense, it won't really affect the mana base that much. So I could see like dropping a Ghired, going up another Skrelv. I think Skrelv was really good today, and as a 1-of, it might actually just be a little silly. But I'm going to keep it as is, actually. I just like that one little change. Go up a Get Lost. I don't think that's going to be a bad change at all. So Guys, if you made it this far into the video for real, y'all are champions. Make sure you check out that description where we got that Discord link, as well as that Patreon link too, if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. It really does go the extra mile. So thank you to all my beautiful patrons. Oh, Bristlebud Farmer too. Ah, man, yeah, dude, we have so many like little neat synergies and combos and everything packed in that we just really didn't get to see today, which is a little bit unfortunate. Like, this is one, we could have played another 5 games and we could have seen a whole different side of the list. You know what I mean? Okay, guys, well, either way, enough rambling, huh? Again, thank you for being here. If you made it this far, y'all are champions. I will see you in the next video.